Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our session this afternoon on the marketing and management courses as well as the PR pathways. We're joined by two very successful and industry experts in their fields. Commencing the session today is Ms. Priyanka Pathak, who has actually joined us from Sydney, and she's actually one of our senior consultants, and she specializes in the skills of helping international students take up business faculty courses. She has more than 5 years of experience as a qualified education advisor and harbors a strong desire and passion to help international students achieve the best career outcomes. So she's a qualified person to help you out with especially the marketing and management courses. So welcome, Priyanka, and let's have you start off with your presentation today.
Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you for introducing me, and welcome, guys. I hope all of you are well. So I'll just share my screen. So today we'll be talking about management and marketing courses. In this session, I'll be covering the courses, the entry requirement, career outcome, job prospects, and of course, scholarship. I'm not going to forget the scholarship. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So why study management marketing? I always tell my students that, the most important part of an organization is actually management and marketing. If you don't have good management team, your organization is not going to succeed. Or if you have very excellent product in your organization, but you don't know how to market it, then even that excellent product is going to fail. So also why you should study management marketing really is it's a very straightforward and easy entry requirement. For example, if you are a year 12 graduate, all you need is an English of 6 overall, no less than 5.5. Also, in comparison to other master's degree, you don't really need a relevant bachelor's degree to get into masters of management. So almost all background graduates are eligible to get into masters of management courses. However, if you're looking at a masters of marketing especially, then you might need a bachelor's of business major in marketing and of that sort. Now, there are very interesting scholarships in this course, which of course I will be covering in later part of the slide. Now, what's the point of studying if you can't really get a good job? So we'll also be talking about great graduate outcomes in management and marketing courses. And of course, there is bright future pathway for this course, which my colleague Gunjan is going to cover about PR pathways through management and marketing courses. So we'll start with hotel management. So I have seen a lot of interest in students trying to do hotel management. It's not only for migration purposes, but also it has great career prospects. So the course that involves hotel management is Bachelor's of Hospitality Management, Masters of International Hotel Management, Masters of Tourism, Hospitality, and Event Management. Some providers that offer these courses are the Hotel School Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. There is Torrens University and Southern Cross University. The career pathways are hospitality manager, resort manager, which we'll also talk in the next slide. Now, you might be keen on the fee. So the average fee is almost $24,000 annually, and it can range up to $32,000 depending upon the provider. Now, we want to know, how does a future of a hotel manager or a resort manager look like in Australia? So according to the survey, we're looking at the outcomes like hotel manager, event manager, catering manager, accommodation manager, sales manager, duty manager. Now, in this case, you're looking at an average salary of $65,000, which I would say is pretty decent. Now, your salary will increase depending upon your experience. If you get long time experience, you might get higher salary. For example, you can look accommodation manager is $165,000. Well, you do not get that salary immediately after you graduate. You get that in like say 5 years when you're into this same profession. Moving on, for management, we have another slide which is for human resource management. As I mentioned, today we'll be talking about some great pillar for an organization which makes the organization to be successful. So human resource management is one of that part of that organization, because if you don't have right talent, that they will not be able to perform, and your organization may not reach to a point where you have actually established the organization for. Now, the course involved for human resource management is Bachelor's of Commerce or Business, majoring in human resource management. And the other one is Master's of Human Resource Management. Now, this is not offered in most of the providers. There are very niche providers who offer Masters of Human Resource Management. For example, there's Flinders, University of Newcastle, University of Wollongong, UTS. Now, Flinders, Wollongong, and Newcastle all are located in regional areas. The career paths for this course is Human Resource Manager, Recruitment Consultant, Workplace Relation Advisor, Human Resource Advisor. Now, the course fee is $24,000 to $36,000 annually. Of course, we'll be discussing about scholarship in later part of the session. Now, moving on, according to the Outlook survey, if you're looking at average salary, for example, if you graduated from a human resource, you do not become a human resource manager right away. So when you say all jobs average, that's like a human resource advisor. So the weekly salary is almost $1,460 for a human resource advisor. But when you move on your career and you become human resource manager, then your salary could be around $2,464 per week, which I think is a great salary. So why not maybe consider studying this kind of course so that at least you'll be getting your ROI as soon as you graduate. So the next management course is Information System Management. So there's not much of a provider which offers Bachelor's of Information System Management. However, there's Masters of Management Information System. The providers offering this course is Edith Cowan University, which is in Perth, Federation University, which is in Melbourne, and Macquarie University, which is in Sydney. Now, with career paths, when you graduate from this course, you are looking at becoming an IT manager, a program manager, a business process analyst, and your course fee is almost $28,000 to $34,000. And we'll be discussing about the scholarship later. Now, as we know, IT is a very booming industry. Now, can you imagine the IT information systems managers? So you're looking at, if you can see, there's a stagnant growth throughout years. So if you're looking at 2009, and there's also projection of almost employment of 13,000 people in 2024. So of course, if you're looking into this field, the chance of you getting employment becomes higher. Another course in management which is called Innovation and Entrepreneurship Management. Now let's understand what is innovation entrepreneurship management. So there are a lot of students who are very sharp, who do not want to study things or do things that has already been precedented in the career pathways or in the society. So they want to do something different. They want to innovate different product. They want to become an entrepreneur and have things of their own. That's where Masters of Management Entrepreneurship comes in picture. Also, there are a lot of diplomas which also offer entrepreneurship, but of course that would not be at a level which will take you to a certain level in your career. So if you study Masters of Entrepreneurship, you're looking at even becoming a research and development manager, a business consultant, a business manager. Now, as you can see by name, this course is a little expensive because of course it is offered in big universities, and the outcome of this course is really good. So the course fee is almost $40,000 annually. It's offered by La Trobe, University of Adelaide, and University of Sunshine Coast. So all of these are available. So La Trobe is in Victoria, University of Adelaide is in South Australia, and USC is in Queensland. So the employment outlook weekly earnings for this one is, when you look at all jobs average, which is like a normal entry-level job, which is again $1,460 per week, and you can go up to $2,800 per week if you get into managerial roles as research and development managers. Now, this is pretty much about management. Look, I would also cover MBAs because that's what everybody know. But getting into MBA is also very simple. It's offered in multiple providers in every state. So I have not really touched base on MBAs. So now we'll move on to marketing courses. Now, I would say marketing courses would not be a right choice for everybody. It's particularly for those students who really seek career in marketing, or you have a good communication skill, you know how to present, you know how to sell a product. So that is the kind of student who would go for marketing courses. Now, if you're looking at a bachelor's level, the courses are Bachelor's of Communication and Media, which has marketing communication, or you can get into any Bachelor's of Business with marketing specialization. The other one is Masters of Public Relation Advertising, and the other one is Masters of Digital Marketing Communication. There are a lot that you can cover in marketing. The digital marketing, you can do imaging, you can do branding. Now, these are offered in very top-notch universities, University of New South Wales, Flinders University, La Trobe, Macquarie, University of Canberra. There are generous scholarships offered by a few universities that I've mentioned here, and the course fee is $31,000 annually. Now, why is this expensive? Because it's only taught, there's a lot of learning involved to this course, and also because it is offered in universities, and there's a lot you can gain out of this course, and it's about $31,000. But once I mentioned the scholarship, you would be surprised to know what cost you could probably be graduating from these courses. Now, let's see job prospects of this course. So according to Deloitte survey, the employment rate has increased. If you see, the trend is increasing. So in 2016 to 2017, the employment demand was 269,000. Now, when we look at 2021, the employment has increased from 269 to 299,000. So you can see, if you study these courses, the chance of you getting into a nice job is very easy. I would not say you might get a job immediately after you graduate, but maybe 2 months after you graduate, you might get into entry level jobs into this management or marketing field. Now, let's talk about scholarship, because I know you must be waiting for scholarship, because these courses seem pretty expensive. So if you're looking at Southern Cross University, the scholarship ranges from $5,000 to $15,000. It ranges for There are different categories for getting into scholarship. If you want to know very detailed information on how scholarship works, you can definitely get in touch with us. Then Kaplan Business School is up to 30% scholarship. So and even Kaplan Business School has MBA for health service management, and they have almost 50% scholarship. Now, if you're looking at Torrance University, they have scholarship of 10%, 15%, 25%, and 30%. CSU, which is in regional area again, has up to 30% scholarship for the first year, and this is only offered in 2021. There are a lot of scholarship that offered in this course. Also, as I mentioned, Macquarie University also has $10,000 scholarship per year. So if you are interested in these courses and you think this is where you want to take your career, and you need more information on getting into admission, even if you're sitting offshore, that's not a problem. You can always get in touch with us, and we'll be able to help you with the entry requirements, getting into admission, and even processing your visa. Now, I would like to hand over to my colleague Gunjan, who would be taking care of migration pathways. Over to you, Gunjan.
Hi, everyone. Before Gunjan starts speaking, let me give you a quick introduction about her, and then we can get you started. I know a lot of you have questions for us, but if time permits, our experts will answer them right now or at the end of the session. But for in-depth answers to your questions, stay tuned for 5:30 p.m. today. That's where we have our main Q&A session, and we'll be dealing with your in-depth queries then. But for now, Gunjan will carry on telling us about marketing and management courses. She's actually a registered migration agent with us at Aussizz Group Melbourne, and she has more than 14 years of experience in the immigration consulting and case management roles. She has always interacted with the student community and provided them with the right guidance and information that has helped them settle down in Australia. And she has a knack of specially handling those case complexities, and she comes up with unique solutions based on the individual scenarios, which I think is very important for people who study marketing and management. So, Gunjan, please do share your insights with us.
Thank you, Riddhi, for the wonderful introduction. That's really nice of you. And thank you, Priyanka, for giving us so much of details about the courses, about the HR, marketing, and management courses. Hello, everyone. As Riddhi has already introduced me, my name is Gunjan, and I work as a registered migration agent with Aussizz Group in Melbourne office. Today, I'm going to speak about the pathways toward the residency through state sponsorship or employer sponsorship or any other pathway. Like Riddhi said, there are always a way to find a pathway towards residency, whether be it any course. I'm going to share my slides as well. So I'll share my screen. So this presentation is about management, human resource, and marketing PR pathways. I will also address few question and answers in the end, but I will first talk about mainly what are the sources through you can get your residency through these courses. Now, as Riddhi said, I've been in the industry for more than 12, 13 years, and there was a time in 2006 and 7 where the management, HR, marketing pathways were the easiest pathways to get permanent residency. Now, times have changed. Different courses like nursing, IT, digital, other courses, the PhD graduates, they have come into the critical list now. However, at the same time, people need to keep this in mind that if you're studying a management or a HR course or a marketing course, that does not mean that it does not lead to permanent residency. I'm going to speak about some of the very popular designations which I have come across recently in the last year. Since COVID has started, there has been a myth that management or human resource or marketing courses do not lead to permanent residency. So the purpose of my presentation is going to be, I'm going to be talking about what are the popular designations, what are the popular roles you can apply for, that could potentially lead to your work experience, to build your work experience. Now, Priyanka just mentioned a couple of things and spot on that every company needs a marketing person, every company needs an HR person. HR and marketing and management is actually a backbone of the business. So a lot of people think that I will not be able to get job in that industry. Trust me, it is not true. Even if you're not a permanent resident, if you do your research, if you do go through the right channel of job hunt, the recruiters, LinkedIn, there are a lot of websites, Indeed, Seek, you can get through the jobs through these designations. Now, first one is the management consultant. Then I will jump on to the hotel and motel manager. Why I picked this occupation about hotel and motel manager is that because recently I've had few clients working as in a hotel or a motel as in casual shifts as a night duty manager. Now, when I talk about that night duty manager, I understand that is not in the skilled occupation list. However, when you are working in an organization in a hotel, because you are already a manager, you are a night duty manager, you can definitely jump up to a role of a hotel manager because you already hold that work experience. So with your qualification, your work experience, you can always approach your recruiter, you can always approach your employer that can I be promoted to the designation of a hotel manager, just and not just night duty manager. Another designation is accommodation and hospitality manager. It could be restaurant, it could be hotel, or a cafe or a restaurant manager. After studying your master's or bachelor's, you could also apply for being, I mean, it's not easy to get straight up to a managing director, Why I picked up this occupation is that I have a lot of overseas candidates. Like when we talk about skilled migration pathways or any visa pathway, whether it's trainee visa, employer sponsored visa, keep in mind that is not just only with the Australian qualification. Even if you have an Australian or an overseas qualification with number of years of work experience, you are still eligible to apply for your skilled migration process or employer sponsored visas. I will jump on to the employer sponsored visas later because I don't want to confuse you. I'm just talking about the occupations, the career options. Why I'm talking about these career options is because these are the occupations which are in the skilled occupation list. Whether it's a medium term list or a short term list, these are in the still in the skilled occupation list. Recently, the department came up with the priority migration skilled occupation list. Keep in mind that the priority skilled occupation list is only for the employer sponsored visas. It is not for the 189 or 190 or 491. Why I'm bringing up PMSOL, though marketing and human resource are not in the priority migration occupation list, is that the department recently added accountants in the PMSOL list. Now, this is just kind of an indication that how the trend can change anytime. There was a time that nobody could think that accountants, the employers, the employer sponsored visas could be prioritized for accountants. So this is the kind of trend changing. The department is obviously is going to change the trend. So if you are into the management, hotel or hospitality industry or recruitment, HR, uh, it could be a pathway to a permanent residency as well. Now I'm going to speak about the marketing specialist as well. If you're doing bachelor's or master's of marketing management, and you can get into the roles of marketing specialist, sales and marketing manager, touch base on the human resource advisor as well. As Priyanka said that there is no company without HR. So you have to explore your options, your career pathways to human resource advisor. The human resource advisor are not higher position designations. The HR managers are the higher position, are higher in the hierarchy of the organization, the managers. However, the human resource advisors are the lower level positions. So you always have career options regarding the human resource advisors as well. When I talk about facilities manager, if you're working in a hotel as a hotel manager or a night duty manager or in an organization which provides facilities to the company, you could also be applying for facilities manager. For example, the companies like the facilities company that provide plumbing, contractors to the companies for plumbing, electricians. So you could apply for the facilities managers as well. Records manager is one more occupation that is in the list, however, only in the regional list. Why I'm talking about records manager, that recently I have a lot of clients who are working as a records manager. Records manager is one designation where most of the companies do have the records manager. They might not have that particular title, the exact title as records manager. However, the most of the tasks performed in that company could be of records manager, that you could be working on your Excel sheets or a database. So that could help you in looking for a job as a records manager as well. These are the most popular designations, but the designations are endless. The main difference between these designations and the other designation is whether you are doing a diploma or a degree and what kind of subjects you have studied. Um, Now, the most common, which is most of the students know, that the main assessing authority for the management and human resource and marketing occupations is VET-Assess. Now, VET-Assess it can get quite overwhelming. It's our job to check whether your task, which category they fall into. The management, the marketing, and the HR are very, very broad areas. The kind of role that you will be looking for or you have been doing, it's my job to advise you that what kind of job you will be looking for, especially for the people who have just lodged their TR, the 485 post-study work stream, the temporary visa, which most of the people know that you can lodge after your 2 years of study in Australia. So I want people to plan their future. The purpose of my presentation over here is for the people who are experienced, but is also for the people who do not have any experience and they want to plan their future in Australia. what jobs to find, what kind of tasks they should be looking for. I'm really happy that I have a lot of clients coming in for consultation to ask me that, oh, I've done my IT, I've done my accountancy. Now, should I apply as an internal auditor or should I apply as an external auditor? I have a lot of clients who have completed their masters of marketing management or business management, and they come and ask me that, Gunjan, what kind of role should I look for? Should I look for an administrator? Should I look for a project administrator, or should I look for a contract administrator? Another example is I've got a client who is working in a hotel, like I said, as a night duty manager. And he has an option to become a hotel manager. So he comes and asks me that, Gunjan, should I take up that job? My answer would be yes, because your hotel is in a regional area. You have the chance to apply for a skill assessment after 12 months. Now, that work experience you can gain on a 485 or a COVID visa as well, because hospitality is in one of the areas where you could get up to 12 months of visa. I will get on to the visas later. I just want to stick to the VET-assess assessment at the moment, because the most prominent occupations that the VET-assess assesses is human resource advisor, management consultant, records manager, and marketing specialist. Now, the most important aspect of the VET-assess assessment is that your degree has to be highly relevant. For example, if you are applying as a marketing specialist, then your degree has to be highly relevant, says Bachelor's of Management specialized in marketing. Your subjects have to be very closely related to the marketing subjects. Plus, after your degree, you need to have at least minimum 12 months, not even a single day less, minimum 12 months of work experience in your now nominated occupation. So if you're getting skills assessed as a management consultant, you must have your work experience after the day you completed your studies as a management consultant. And the good thing is that VET-assess does not need full-time work experience. VET-assess only needs 20 hours or more, but minimum 20 hours is required. The tasks, when I talk about, when people come to me regarding the tasks, VET-assess has specially mentioned that the tasks that you should be doing should be highly relevant to the nominated occupation. Now, this terminology, highly relevant, is very critical, because if you have been working in a company as a management consultant, you should not be doing admin jobs, any marketing jobs. It has to have as a management consultant. Another good thing is that if your qualification is not highly relevant, so one is that your qualification is highly relevant, and then second, if it's not highly relevant. If it's not highly relevant, then you can have 3 years of experience and still get your skills assessed. This 3 years of experience can be overseas or in Australia, it does not matter. You can still get your skills assessed. I always encourage the clients to get multiple assessment done. For example, if you have the management degree and masters as well in some other occupation, you keep your options open and apply for both skill assessment. But keep in mind that your work experience should not contradict each other. So for example, what you submitted to VET-assess last year on your basis of your bachelor's, it should not contradict if you apply for another skill assessment. Otherwise, they can put a ban, or they can just say that you provided misleading information. So it's my job to check what kind of tasks that you should be performing and what kind of skill assessment you should be applying for. Now, I want to jump onto the visas, because that's one of the most common questions that I get, that, oh, I've done my marketing, I've done my management, I've got my HR degree, but what to do now? I've got my work experience, and I'm stuck. Like, I don't think I'm eligible for any visa, but that's not correct. The trainee visa I'm going to be speaking about, the 482 employer sponsored visas as well. Now, the department has divided the skilled occupation list into different categories, as it's a very common terminology, medium and long-term list, the short-term list as well. Now, I'm going to be talking about the medium term list. The reason is that the management consultant is in the medium term list. So why I say that it's a myth that your degree cannot lead to permanent residency is that the management consultant is in the medium term list, which means that you can apply for 189, 190, which is the independent skilled program, the independent visa. After your 12 months of work experience, you can apply for skill assessment and then apply for your expression of interest for the 189 visa as well. The trainee visa is one of the most common visas nowadays, that if you have an employer to sponsor you on a 12-month visa or a 1.5 years or a 2 years visa, you can apply for a 407 trainee visa. It is similar to 482. However, the trainee visa does not involve any labor market testing, so it is a much easier visa to get as compared to the 482. I understand that there are a lot of people who say that my employer is not happy to sponsor me. Now, it's our job to speak to the employers. If the employers are happy to speak to me, I'm happy to speak to the employer and say that look, what are the benefits of you sponsoring the trainee on a trainee visa to the applicant. Now, I know that you guys will have a lot of questions about the eligibility of training visa, which I can speak about it later as well, or I will address your questions after this session. I've left a couple of minutes to address your question as well, or feel free to please text me or call me or drop me a message, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions individually. Now, when I speak about the trainee visa, it's got 3 steps to it: the sponsorship, nomination, and the visa. In the sponsorship, the company has to be an approved sponsor. Nomination, you need to have a training plan. Now, the benefit of the training visa is that you do not need to be very highly skilled. It does not need a skill assessment. The training visa does not need a skill assessment. So if you have completed your degree recently, for example, if a client has completed his bachelor's or master's of management degree recently in the last 24 months, and if you have an employer and you are eligible to be nominated by the employer if the employer is happy to sponsor you. So that's one benefit of the training visa. Now, with the 489 or the 491, this used to be 489 used to be the old state sponsorship. With the 491, if a particular state is sponsoring you, I'll get onto the regional states after this slide as well, that which states have what are the eligibility of particular states, because as Priyanka mentioned that she's in Sydney, so New South Wales has got a lot of universities offering the management and the HR courses. South Australia has got different schemes, different pathways towards the skilled visas, and all Northern Territory, Tasmania, Western Australia, Victoria, they all have different pathways. Now, everybody needs to keep in mind that every state has their own list of occupations and every state has their own rules because they are independent bodies. The skill assessment and the states are independent bodies, and they have their own criteria of nominating the applicants on different occupations. The medium term list, you can also apply for the graduate visa, which we've already spoken about. That's the 2 years visa, the post study work stream visa, if you have completed your master's and bachelor's. When I talk about the permanent visas, if your occupation of, for example, management consultant falls in the medium term list, then you're also eligible to apply for 186 direct entry. 186 direct entry is a permanent visa. It is an employer sponsored visa which does not need sponsorship. You only need to apply for the nomination. So your employer is nominating you to be a management consultant. It does need minimum 3 years of experience. So you need to have 3 years of experience as a management consultant after your bachelor's and master's degree. It has to be post qualification. Now, one of the most common questions that I get from clients is that it's hard to get experience. So, I mean, how can I find an employer to sponsor me? So, my response is to the applicants is that you have to start from somewhere. you did your studies here, you have to look for a job anywhere in Australia. Doesn't matter where you will be working. If you get a job in your nominated occupation, I always advise clients to take it up, because you don't know that if eventually when you're working in a company and they're happy with your performance, if they're happy with your work, then they might offer you a sponsorship. Because I have noticed that when I have been talking to the employers about the candidates, they want to sponsor the candidates, because at the end of the day, you're going to be an asset to the company. Now, these are the visas that you could apply for if your occupation is in the medium term list. Now, this is the short term list. Now, there are less options available for people who are in the short term skilled occupation list, as well as the regional occupation list. Now, with the short term list, you can still apply for training visa, you can apply for state sponsorship, um, and you can apply for your 482 as well. If your occupation is in the short term list, you will only get 482 for 2 years. That's the only drawback. That's all. Plus, but you can extend it for another 2 years. The reason why I'm talking about 482 is that while you're working on a 482, you kind of build your experience, and building your experience give you more points. And plus, meanwhile, there could be an option of a state sponsorship. Okay, I'm going to speak about the temporary graduate pathway as well, because this is a 2 years visa. You get to work in your nominated occupation. You get a chance to apply for jobs in your nominated occupation. Now, why I encourage to lodge the post-study work stream visa is that there are a lot of organization companies who are looking for candidates with the full-time work rights. So the moment you get on a bridging visa A and you show to your employers that, to the recruiters as well, that this is what I have got, this is what I've applied, and I have full-time working rights, I have completed my studies, I have studied these subjects, and I want to look for a job prominent in my area. So the 485 is an opportunity for you to work, because the word itself is a work visa. So it is giving you an opportunity to work in your industry. So it is a 2 years visa where you get a chance to apply for jobs and work in your nominated occupation, and then apply for your skill assessment if you have worked in your occupation for 12 months. Now, in a nutshell, the skilled migration visas, which I have been talking about, you need a full skill assessment, 12 months work experience. You have to have minimum 65 points and at least a competent English. I would also like to mention that 𝐻𝐻𝑆, which is the Skill Assessment Authority, does not have any English requirements. It only has qualification and work experience. This is just a little bit of gist about the 189, 190, and 491. You need full skill assessment for all three of them. Minimum 6 each in English, and plus 65 points you must have. The 189 and 190 are permanent residencies. 189 is the independent. 190 is the state sponsorship. Why I'm speaking about this is that I have one of the most common questions, that what is 491 and what is 190? It can get a bit confusing about the difference. Now, the 491 you get for 5 years. Now, in those 5 years, whichever regional area, whether it's Victoria regional area or New South Wales participating regions, if they have nominated you in that particular state, you must live and work in that state for 3 years. So after 3 years, you are eligible for your 191, which is a permanent residency. Now, I would like to speak about some of the state nomination criteria, because most of the occupations in management or HR or the marketing, they fall under the 491 category. There are very less occupations who fall under the 189 category, which is the independent PR. The Australia, as everybody knows, they are kind of, it's been a trend that they are promoting regional areas like Tasmania, Northern Territory, South Australia. The whole South Australia is a designated area. So as Priyanka mentioned, there are a lot of course options in South Australia and New South Wales regional areas as well. Now, why I'm talking about South Australia is that South Australia, I have seen a trend, as Riddhi said, that I've been in the industry for 10 to 12 years. I myself have lived in South Australia for 6 years. It is a beautiful state. Um, the South Australia always, as compared to other states, they always encourage the graduates to apply for the visa. So they do have a preference. I've just seen a pattern that the South Australia does have a preference of nominating candidates, nominating the graduates there. So with South Australia, if you have completed a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, and if you are working in your occupation for only 3 months in South Australia, then you are eligible for 491, which is a really good option, because if you have applied, if you have studied your human resource management, for example, um, and you have specialized in marketing or management, matter of fact, any of the degrees, you apply for your 485, which is a 2 years full time, it gives you 2 years full time work experience. You work in South Australia for 3 months only in your nominated occupation, and then you can apply for 491, which is a 5 years temporary provisional visa. Now, definitely, South Australia is a beautiful state to live. You have to live in South Australia for 3 years on a 491 visa, and then you can apply for 191 after the work experience as well. If you don't have any work experience, South Australia also offers um, the graduates there through talent and innovation program. Now, I'm happy to answer question regarding the talent and innovation program separately, because it is a very, very wide area. They have different streams allocated through the talent program, because they also understand, the state also understands that it's really hard to find a job. So they do have a program called talent program, where they prefer candidates who have graduated in South Australia. Um, okay, so South Australia, when we've spoken about 491 and the talent and innovation program, as I mentioned, they have divided it into employment stream, startup and small business stream, if you have started your own business in South Australia. Now, another benefit of studying the management courses is that you get the skills. You might not end up in a job by studying marketing or management, but keep in mind that it improves your decision making skills. It improves your marketing skills. It improves how you present yourself to the employers. It increases your mind ability to innovate ideas, and that's the reason why South Australia mentions that we are going to give a chance to the people who do the students who have graduated there and who have started up a small business stream there. So there are options in South Australia for 491. Now, Tasmania is another small state that nominates candidates for occupations in management, marketing, and HR. For 190, which is a permanent residency for Tasmania, you need 2 years of study in Tasmania. But keep in mind that the Tasmania has their own list as well, which is called the TSOL list. If you're going to complete your studies, if you're currently studying, you can get in touch with me and in any state, and I will have a look which state is sponsoring your nominated occupation. So, for example, Tasmania, like I mentioned, if you study there for 2 years, if you do your degree, you could be eligible for 190. Plus, you need 6 months of full-time work experience in a business that is operating for the last 12 months. The 491 Tasmania also offers for the management marketing. The 491 Tasmania does not have a specific list. So if you have completed your studies, just 1 year of study, or you have 6 months of full-time work experience in Tasmania, you could be eligible for the 491 Tasmania as well. So the reason I'm talking about all these states is because these are the subjects, these are the courses that you have a chance to apply. You may be eligible to apply for the permanent residencies pathways. Now, Northern Territory is another state that you could apply for. For 190 permanent residency, sorry, if you have studied a course for 2 years, which is a master's and or bachelor's, you can apply for 190, but you need 6 months of work experience in your nominated occupation in Northern Territory. Now, keep in mind that the 491-190, you can only apply after the skill assessment, after getting the skills assessed from the assessing authority, because any skilled migration visa, you must have a skill assessment. You cannot apply for a visa without a skill assessment except a trainee visa. Now, Canberra has their own matrix. It doesn't work on the points system of the department. The students or the clients who are studying in Canberra, who are living in Canberra, they can also contact me. I'm happy to go through and calculate their points on the basis of matrix. So, however, they do have a minimum requirement of 6 months, that you should be living there for 6 months and working there for 6 months. Canberra, though it's the capital of Australia, they do have the 491 regional options as well. Queensland, it's a very big state. They also have options for 190, which is a permanent residency. You need 6 months full-time experience in your nominated occupation. Those lists that I just went through, many more than that. However, those are the most common occupations. I spoke about the management consultant, hotel model manager, marketing specialist. These are the main occupations. However, you could apply for other occupations as well. For the 491, Queensland has an option of recent graduates. If you have recently graduated in Queensland, you need 3 months of full-time work experience in your nominated occupations. There are some occupations that need an offer letter as well for 12 months for 491 regional areas. Western Australia is another big state. The 190 state nomination is available for people who have studied in Western Australia for 2 years. Plus, in addition to it, you must have 6 months full-time work experience, or an employment contract for an employer which is actively operating in the last 12 months. Now, as I've said before, every state has their own requirements. Every state has their own list of occupations, and it keeps changing. So if your occupation is not in the list today, it does not mean that it will not be in the list in the next 6 months or next year. It keeps changing, and it's our job to keep you informed. I mean, Aussizz Group is we keep informing very actively on our Facebook page about the changes happening, what are the occupations that have been added, which have been removed, so you can go and Facebook our page, like it, so you can keep receiving updates on our page as well. Now, Western Australia also offers 491 regional skilled visa, which is that you must have studied there for 2 years and 6 months full-time work experience in your nominated occupation. I mentioned about the employer-sponsored visas for 482. 482 is a very, very different visa than skilled visa. 482 does not work on point system. All you need is a qualification, highly relevant to your field, 2 years work experience. For a 482 visa, your 2 years work experience does not need to be post qualification. So I'll say that again. So a lot of people think for 482 visa, your work experience has to be after the qualification. If you are coming from any country, India or anywhere, if you have had some of the work experience before your qualification, you came to Australia, you did your master's or bachelor's of management, you're working here as a management consultant, your company is happy to sponsor you as a management consultant, we can propose a 482 visa with 2 years of work experience and then get on the work sponsored visa. The benefit of 482 is that you build your work experience. And on the side, you get your skill assessment done, which needs 12 months of work experience. And then you might get a chance to get into the state sponsorship or independent program as well. I will go through the ENS as well quickly, and then I can take up some questions. For ENS, I said 186 direct entry, you must have 3 years of work experience. For 186, the 3 years has to be after the qualification, and it is mandatory to have a skill assessment. So skill assessment is the first step to go. You could be employed by the employer in regional area as well with the 494. And similar to that, you need 3 years work experience, and skill assessment is not mandatory. However, it is a very broad category, very wide category. I will be able to assess your situation on an independent, on individual basis, so I can give you the best advice regarding your situation. I keep stressing on work experience. Go and talk to the employers, talk about your roles, talk about your job. You have done your studies in marketing, HR, management. You have built up your skills of presenting yourself to the employers. So you can come and speak to me, have a chat with me regarding what kind of roles you'll be applying for, what kind of jobs you could be applying for, what kind of sector you should be targeting. And I'm more than happy to have a consultation and in regards to your permanent residencies pathway as well. Okay, now this is some of the data just to give you a fair bit of idea about the processing times, how much Victoria has nominated the candidates. So processing times for 190 and 491, it varies a lot. There is no indicative time frame in business days from the department at the moment. However, it varies a lot depending on the state sponsorship processing times as well. Now, I'm leaving my contact details as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I will be able to assess any kind of if you have got jobs or if you're looking for a job or if you have studied any particular course, what kind of course you should be studying next. So if you have any course that is, sorry, I'm just going to go back to my screen. All right. Okay, so I've got some questions here. I'm happy to answer them. Okay, some of the questions are for 6 months of South Australian work experience. Yes, you might have good chances of South Australia state sponsorship. If you have graduated from South Australia, I would recommend that you contact me and let me have a look whether you can apply for a 491 South Australia or not. South Australia rules hasn't changed yet, but in July they might be changing the rules. Most of the states changed the rules in the after the 30th of June. So if you have any work experience and plus you need another 6 months work experience. So when you talk about that you have 6 months of work experience, keep in mind that you do need a skill assessment as well. However, if your visa is expiring, let me have a chat with you and see what kind of other visa options you might have, if not the skilled migration pathway. Okay, Bibik is asking that it is mentioned if you have graduated from a regional area, 6 months skill assessment. Yes, Bibik, you are absolutely right. That's why I keep stressing on that for any skilled visa, you need a skill assessment. When I talk about the state sponsorship work experience, keep in mind that that is in addition to the skill assessment. You can count your work experience during this for the skill assessment that you have counted. However, the state requirements are in addition to the skill assessment requirements. So you have to keep that in mind as well. I've got another question here. I'm currently doing Masters of Project Management. All right. My background is for civil engineering, and I have 4 years of experience in civil engineering. That's great. Please come. Husband also has engineering background with 5 years of experience. That's really a good, Ishara. You have a very good experience. I would like to have a consultation with you so I can assess your situation. If you have work experience as a civil engineer, I would highly recommend that you get your skill assessment done as a civil engineer 1. Second, on the side, I will check what are the states that are sponsoring civil engineer. I would like to know when is your visa expiring. So your husband with the point system, if your husband also has engineering background and 5 years of experience, I would like to see if he's eligible for the skill assessment, so then you can get his extra 5 points if he gets his skill assessment as well. I will scroll down some other questions. Might not be able to cover everything. However, after this session, I will try to address as much as I can. Aaron is asking, can a master's in management marketing student visa as a management consultant and apply for PR after 1 year of work experience in Australia? So, and what I understand is that if you do a master's in management marketing and work as a management consultant, your first step would be to get a skill assessment done as a management consultant. That's the first thing. Second, I would like to know first, when is your visa expiring? So why I keep saying about why is my visa expiring is that once I know how much time you have left, I would be able to analyze and plan accordingly that what should be your first step to do. I'll share my email here. So you guys can, thanks Russell, I've shared my email address. I'll share after my session as well. Ram is asking, graduated from MBA from Melbourne with a specialization in marketing. Currently working in outer regional for 11 months, marketing retail business. What are the options in South Australia? You might be eligible for the graduate program. No, so sorry, you've done your MBA in Melbourne. Okay, so I will have to check if they are currently inviting the interstate candidates or not. However, the Victoria, let's see in July what Victoria does, whether we get any more surprises about the state sponsorship options. I would like to check what are your work experience as well, and I can check the other state options as well. So get in touch with me. We can have a one-to-one conversation. Uh, okay, so. Okay, Ram says not in Victoria. Sure, I would love to have a chat with you so I can particularly address to your work experience and qualification. Hashini is asking for management consultant skill assessment. Can the titles work with business analyst? Very, very good question, Hashini. I'm happy that you're asking related to the job. If you have studied your subjects in management consultant, uh, the business analyst is an IT occupation. However, keep in mind the vertices says that if you are working in your closely related occupation. So if you have got a job as a business analyst in a management tasks, because there are a lot of jobs of business analysts that you are doing management jobs. It's very, very closely, it can be closely related. So I would recommend get in touch with me. I'll have a chat with you. uh, if you are getting a job of business analyst, you can always talk to your employer, happy to have a chat with them and say, look, this is my purpose of getting a job. I'm going to stick to your company for the next 12 months. And are you happy if there's a company requirement? Are you happy for me to take additional responsibilities? If you come up front and talk to your employer that you're happy to take additional responsibilities, every employer wants that. Every employer wants you to have more tasks. So talk to your employer. You can have a chat with me, and I will prepare you accordingly. Okay, I've got a question from Atya as well. I'll try to take as much as I can because I've got a couple of minutes left. And rest, I'll leave my contact details here. Okay, Atya says MBA in Health Services Management, Brisbane. Okay, relevant qualification. Go to South Australia to get my PR. Atya, can you get in touch with me with this? There's a lot of information in your message, and I want to ask you a couple of questions as well relating to that. Neil is asking MBA about to finish this November, target HR advisor position in my current company. Okay, that is great if you're getting the job as a human resource advisor. But is your company in your regional area or it's in a metro area, Neil? I would like to have a discussion about this role because with the international business, I just want to check your transcript as well whether you have studied. If you've studied the human resource advisor as well. Thanks, Atya. You can call me, you can leave a text, and I will return your call as soon as I can. And look, thank you so much, everybody, to attend this session, give your time. I'm really happy that I've got all these questions. Thank you so much.
Much, Gunjan, for giving us so many insights on state nominations, skill assessments, as well as in general about the status and trend analysis and what to expect in the future, and for taking care of so many questions. I know I can see so many more questions are still popping in, but don't stress, guys. We actually have a custom session which is just for Q&As. It's coming up in the evening today at 5:30 p.m. Melbourne time. So make sure to join that and have your cases analyzed in detail. I've dropped the link in the comments, and don't forget to leave a review for us. It's very important to take into account your feedback. So I'm dropping in the message again. Please make sure to review us, and whatever questions have been submitted by you guys, we actually have all of your contact details. So we'll be getting in touch with each one of you individually. Our consultants will actually take care of all of your queries. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's session. If you missed out on any of the content, don't stress. Our YouTube page will be live with this video very, very shortly. So make sure to go and subscribe to our page and click the bell notification icon so that you're notified when the video goes live. Also, if you have interest in any of the courses on regional studies and PR pathways, or if you want more information on the PT, CCL, exams, we have those sessions coming up as well. I'm popping in those links in the chat box below. Just click through those and join. We look forward to seeing you all. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, everyone.